for another update. Let's take a look at Pancake Swap over here, or a cake token. And this is clearly Wyckoff accumulation because we have price and time-based capitulation. As you guys can see, it went down by over 97%, and then we had time-based capitulation going for over 1,000 days. So when you have both time and price-based capitulation, that it would likely be a recipe for expansion to the upside. And you see this huge move to the downside. So I'm going to show you guys this chart right over here. It's Wyckoff accumulation, schematic number 2, I believe. Let me see here. So you see this spring. You see this spring. That you have this over here. This was your spring because we swept this low, we swept the range low, and then we shot right back up. I actually called it on my Twitter. I said that if I was the composite operator, I would go all in over here, right? And you can see that it made a new low, swept a range low, and then had a higher low on the RSI on the 3-day. And then when we take a look at the cake Bitcoin pair, right when it had that spring, you know what the cake Bitcoin pair did? It swept the 2020 equal lows before we outperformed Bitcoin by 5,500%. So we actually swept that low, and then we also had a wave 5. So right as the cake USD pair swept its range low, the cake Bitcoin pair also had a perfect 5-wave move to the downside. You guys see this? Where it's a perfect 5-wave move. And then when you take a trend-based fib to this, you guys can see that it came to the 61.8% fib. So right at the golden pocket. There you go. And then there's your bullish divergence as well on your cake Bitcoin pair. Now, what do we have over here? We have a advance to the high. And in crypto, you're unlikely to see a double top. So this is likely to see a continued push up here, and then we can confirm our impulsive move on the cake Bitcoin pair. And that'll be very important, right? This is very clearly impulsive, as you guys can see. This is the cake Bitcoin pair. You see how you have 5 waves, and then you have an ABC, and then you have another 5 waves. The structure is expanding as time progresses, or I should say as we're within expansion or heading into expansion. The structure will expand rapidly. But yeah, cake Bitcoin pair swept the low. Let's go back to the cake USD pair. And yeah, I think we go to around the 1.382 extension, which would also be, that would be the trend-based fib when we measure the third wave, and then that would also be near the 50% fib at around 669. And then we can take a fib from the high, which would be in December, down to the capitulation zone. And we can see that the 2.618 is at 290. Or sorry, 990, and then the 1.618 is 656. So around that same level, right? This level. See these 3 levels? And then you likely come up to these 3 levels right here. Okay. Then you have an A, you're likely going to have your A wave down, and your B wave is probably going to take out 13 to 14. And then we come down for a C wave for your backup phase, right? Because this is all Wyckoff. You see how aggressive this move is? I can't pull it up. It's you see how aggressive this spring is? It's just very sudden. Like you just creak to the right a bit and then it's sudden. Right? Like over here is another example. Like right here. You see how sudden this is? So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That it was just Wyckoff. Okay, this would be your spring. And this is your test / last point of support. And if you're lucky, you'll get 2 of these. You'll get 2 pullbacks that you can accumulate on. But we may not get it here on cake if the price gets above this level, which would be around let me see here. If the price gets above these 2 levels at 264 and 268, then yeah, it's likely that this was your last pullback before you have expansion. So this was your spring. So this is your, like, the accumulation can manifest into many different formats. So this would be like your selling climax, your automatic rally, your secondary test, your failed breakout, your secondary test in phase B, your failed break number 2, and then you come down and chop on the right to the right side of the range. This actually looks a little bit more complex, like this Wyckoff schematic. You know, it's actually, the more complex it is, the more accumulation there is. Like for example, when we take a look at XRP, you guys see how complex this Wyckoff range was. I remember back in 2024, I used to make a bunch of videos just walking you guys through this Wyckoff range. So yeah, that's XRP, and then you can see how complex that range was before we had expansion. Now, something also interesting I wanted to point out is the market cap chart. So when we take a look at the market cap chart of Cake, we see that the 702 is at around 2.7 billion, which would be sitting at around 9. And then the 786, which is where the market cap chart is likely to go to, sits at around $11 to $12, right? And $11 to $12 is on the USD pair, so not the USDT pair, but the USD pair. That's right at the 618 and right at the 23.6% fib when you use the linear scale. So lots of confluence around this $10 to $12 region. But there's going to be a resistance before that, which would be a wave 3 of 3. Let me see. And you know, also something that I noticed is that something that I also noticed is that the market cap chart on Cake, it never made new lows within its range. You see, it was just ascending accumulation. Do you guys see that? This is ascending accumulation. You see this? This is actually BNB back then. This was BNB. You see how it's ascending? Or this? And even in Wyckoff, you see in Wyckoff, there's many patterns that formulate. Like look at this ascending channel. That's still Wyckoff. So I'm thinking it does that as a push up here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Peace out and take it easy. See you in the next one.